And we're live. Hopefully.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone.
Are you sure about that?
Maybe.
I think it's an excellent evening because we're all here.
Yeah.
She did it only robot for me there, or did she robot for everyone?
iRobot?
No,
Must
you
have been
don't
on my end.
robot.
Must have been on my end. Well, that's you had to jinx it, eh? First thing coming in, hey, robots, yay! Yeah, no, I have a bit of a storm going on right now, so if the connection has any sort of issues, I do apologize in ahead of time. It's also why I'm not using the cam right now, is to minimize traffic, because we got a really heavy thunderstorm going on right now, so fingers crossed that it doesn't bug everything out, but otherwise we will attempt to TOTOR, and may the force be with us, really. So,
Understandable. Have a nice day.
how's everybody doing tonight?
All right.
Pretty good.
Doing okay. I get to go go-karting tomorrow for a work event.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
So,
You get paid to go go-karting?
I'm getting paid to go network at the go-kart event.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Excellent.
Sitting in the dark because my eyes hurt.
Oh no. Hopefully it's better.
It's just insects fucking with my eye.
Yeah, that is the worst. So I think it's been a little while. I think we missed the last couple due to life, but I'm excited to be back and here.
Yep. The brain has been fixed. We are ready to roll once more.
Got your replacement in the mail?
Yes, exactly. So, for those of you rejoining us after the last episode, as you might remember, we had a fun little conclusion to the Thyphera arc. A few things happened, and I mean, things could have, I guess, went better, but it was a bit of a bittersweet ending to the arc in the sense that at the end of the time that the party spent on the space station, they were urged to leave, right, along with a certain egg.
Mm-hmm.
And as the Sith ships entered the system, right, the reactor of the station was set to overload, taking one of the Sith that's a tongue twister for me. Sith warships, there we go, I'll manage, with it, and ending more or less our current fight over the planet, right, as everybody else was kind of forced to hastily beat retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that at the end of that, everybody kind of popped into hyperspace on their way back to Tython, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's where
Yeah.
we ended it, if my memory serves.
Yep,
We were told to return, and everything will be taken care of.
to make sure we don't get shot out of the sky as we enter.
Correct. And
I think we did.
I believe the egg had hatched as well, right?
Yes.
Yes, correct.
And it
Okay.
was hungry constantly.
Yes, it needed food a lot. So, on that note, you're all decided, I think, to take a long rest. There's a few things that happened.
We fought Ghost Boy.
Right. there was that event where somebody drew a certain card of the deck and
Rah!
Yeah.
got
That
some nice
funny little
benefits, but at the
thing.
same time managed to summon someone anyway to cause trouble. And yeah, you all manage to protect your ship, your lives, and I'm assuming you guys all took a little rest at the end of that and are now on your way back to Tython, correct?
Yep.
That's what I have here in the
Lines.
notes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. So, once more, you are awoken, be it by your alarms, internal alarms, or simply by the lurch of the ship as the hum of the hyperdrive disengages and our ship returns to real space. Speaking of your ship, guys, did you guys think of a name for this new one?
I'll leave the name to you guys.
We have to name it.
Jesus
Can't-
Christ, I
I
thought I
mean,
had a name.
You have to kind of register it, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think of one.
What is that?
R-3 is what the third ship.
Well, this is our second ship.
Second ship, yeah.
So R-2.
Marketing director, what do you have to say about that?
What did we name the last one?
The last one was Second Shadow.
And what did you have in mind for this one? You said you thought of something. What is it? I see that smile. I want to know.
I didn't think of anything, okay?
Oh. I thought you said you did. My bad.
Give me like 12 minutes to Google stuff.
Okay.
Like 45 seconds even. I'll think of something cringy and edgy.
Awesome. So,
We're
while
counting
you
on
think
you.
of the name for your ship, the rest of you, minus Mibble, because Mibble, you're on your 4th alarm, right? And since no coffee was offered,
Leave me alone. I'm driving the ship.
right? Oh, are you already awake and at the helm for once? Or were
I got nothing better to
were you
do.
flying the ship in your dreams and just refusing to get up?
I need a
I
break.
probably have it on autopilot, so I'm probably in my room.
Well, that's why it did come out of hyperspace and you didn't end up in God knows where, but
You know,
or should I
Milble,
say the Force knows where? But yes.
Milble, if you don't come fly the ship, I'm gonna do it for you. You know what happens when I try and deal with these things.
Touch the ship, and you're walking.
Well, if you're asleep, you
Oh,
can't
God.
stop me! Just remember what happened to the weapon systems in the last ship.
Hey, at least that wasn't our ship. Well, actually, no.
It was our
I
ship.
think I know what. I think I know which one you're talking about now.
Once you rip the controls off of?
As the two of you are kind of bantering back and forth through Mibble's room door, you can hear a slightly high-pitched noise that you can identify as obviously the rig from the comm system here as you're being hailed.
Bibble gets up and goes over to the comms.
I'm going to
And-
knock on Orta's door for this as well, because I don't deal with the
Probably
Jedi,
gonna have
that's
a
Orta's
Jedi
problem.
Okay. And Kodav, how about you?
Whatever is in the med bay drinking coffee, going over whatever charts are available.
Nice.
Wait, you have coffee?
He probably has a coffee maker in the med bay, specifically for himself.
Why didn't you tell me?
That was his secret stash.
Oh no. I feel like Mibble is with coffee like Zorro is with potions.
Yep.
Hey, I have some high grade octane Colombian beans, and they're mine.
Hey, give it here.
like there's actually no coffee maker in the med bay. I actually set up like one of those like weird coffee beaker systems where like it looks like a science experiment, but it's actually coffee.
If it's coffee, I'll take it.
I think as they squabble over coffee, Only will go smack the comms button to see who's calling us. No one else
Hey,
is
don't
doing
hit
it.
the console!
She smacks it hard.
As you hit the, or should I say bludgeon, the comms
There
console
you
at
go.
this point, answering buttons. You see the picture of Garm show up on the holo.
Oh, good, it's you.
Yeah, and he starts with like, Mibble, you've answered about 30 seconds later than I expected you to. Is everything... Oh, it's not you. Hey.
Nibble's getting coffee.
Share some of that coffee!
I told you if you didn't want me doing anything with console, you should have been in here!
Well, that would explain a lot. Well, at the risk of, recentering Mibble's priorities when it comes to life, the universe, and everything as we know it, I'd appreciate you guys landing at the Academy as fast as possible. I have some very important news. Let's just say, whatever kicked in Pythera had a little bit of a cascading effect.
Doesn't surprise me.
How do you mean?
Again, details to be
On the
briefed in
phone,
person,
right.
not over the comms. Just get over here as fast as possible.
Nibble comes back to the console with a cup of coffee.
Nibble, you have yours. Make the ship fly faster.
We'll get there as soon as we can.
Mibble, I need you to fly this ship here like you're about to be paid overtime. Come on.
Am I being paid overtime?
It could be discussed.
Okay.
I think he's
Yeah,
docking
so,
$1 for every minute we're late.
Gets the ship going.
And so, the ship does indeed, a couple, maybe half an hour later, land at the Tython Academy here. And by the time you guys exit the ship, assuming you don't want to do anything else on the ship before you exit, do you?
Not at the moment.
Just making sure the small one is fed and safe, mainly.
Is she gonna
Yeah.
stick by you?
That's the question. Are you bringing her off the ship?
Do I trust her on her own? That's my main question.
That is a
Do you
question.
trust her alone on the ship, or do you want
She's
to
a day old.
Gage, homie,
Yeah, what's up?
remember what we have said and what we have compared children to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chaos gremlins, and she's a
Do we
day
leave a
old.
Velociraptor alone on the ship?
We do not leave the Velociraptor alone on the ship.
Good call.
We'll make a father out of him yet one day, guys. Good times. It's okay, I learned that lesson the hard way a couple of times.
I'm almost... Nope, I don't want to ask.
Oh, stuff
Nope,
like the
nope.
kid has a stick in their hand, and you don't you look away for 2 minutes, and here they are smacking at the car, and you're like, please do not damage the paint with the stick, child.
Look, that's not even the worst we've done. We've had we turned around to let the dog out the front door, and in literally the second at which we turned us to turn around and grab the door handle, child stuck their hand on the fireplace that was on.
No.
Oh no.
Luckily, only second-degree burns. He was fine.
Ah, still.
But you know what? Now that kid knows when we say something's hot, he ain't touching it.
That's how learning works. You like
It took
Honestly,
almost 5
every-
years for him to eat hot food. Like, if it wasn't, like, lukewarm, if it was any warmer than lukewarm, he wouldn't eat it.
he's like, I'll die.
I don't want that which happened to my hand on my tongue. No, thank you.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find some music.
It's super impressive how quickly
They move.
they can pull it off too. It's really how fast they are. It's like from one moment they're little angels sitting there. You turn around and the next minute they're like upside down throwing like cutlery across the room like it's a dartboard. Like I don't know how they switch so quickly from one thing to the next.
They sensed weakness.
Right?
It's like leaving the predator alone.
Yeah. So here's the in that case I am correct to understand that you are bringing
Yes, I'm bringing small one.
the small one with you. Very good.
Maybe we should give her a name.
You disembark and you see Garm is already waiting for you on the landing strip, for lack of better terminology. And he sees the four of you disembark and looks at the three of you and says, "Why is it that every time you come here, it's always with someone different?"
Oh, they do that? Should I be worried?
That's just how meeting new people works.
Oh. I don't know. Think if whether you're blessed or cursed. And who's this young one? He says.
This is Nixie, the queen of the Vratex. Possibly just one of the queens.
She seems awfully premature for a queen.
Well, she's kind of the new queen.
The previous queen was lost in covering our escape from the Sith warship on our escape.
He looks at you. give me a BS roll real quick, will you?
Was that not what happened? Am I misremembering things?
I mean, it's not the ship warship. She detonated the station to take out the ship warship. The Sith
warship. She was still covering our escape.
Yes, but you said she died from the warship.
I said she died protecting, helping protect us from...
Oh, I didn't hear that properly. Maybe my internet cut out. Okay.
Maybe I said it wrong. That's also a distinct possibility. But I wasn't trying to be like...
We'll look at the replay and lay the blame later.
Yeah, it's fine. But basically, she helped us get away from the Sith safely by sacrificing her own life.
And so, funny enough, right, he looks at you and then back to it, and then back to you, Orta, and he says, "Well, it sounds like there's going to be a need for a bit of a debriefing here. I don't know what you guys did there, but the Sith Empire has now attacked 5 Republic planets.
Ah.
And it almost feels like they're gearing up for all-out war, but there's a few things that don't quite match. I'm going to need to have a bit of a talk with you and see if we can figure out what the heck's going on. The Council is obviously quite anxious to hear your mission report."
Maybe they're just pissed off over the Sith we killed.
He looks at you and then back to you, Orta, and he says, "I thought you guys went there as diplomats."
We did.
Diplomats,
And
not
things
my
kind of
style.
fell
Need a
apart.
debriefing.
And diplomacy usually does not entail killing representatives of another faction.
He
By
attacked us
that
first.
point,
Well, and also there was a coup occurring.
What?
Only
Why
just
is it
kind
that
of...
every time I
everything
set
is
you guys
falling
on the
apart
simplest
as
of missions,
was.
you managed to start a conflict of galactic scale?
This is the second mission we've been sent on, thank you.
The second
It
one
is
you
not a
blundered.
threat.
Only just kind
Maybe I
of
should have you
shrugs.
working the archives instead. Oh.
Shrugs and goes, "Diplomacy's not my thing."
We didn't.
But to be fair,
we didn't
everything
start the
fell
conflict.
apart.
The previous queen did.
Everything fell apart by that point, so...
It's all a lot. We'll debriefing.
Sure, right. This way.
And then-
The council's waiting for you.
And then Orta's going to sort of telepathically speak to Small Queen. I don't suppose the rest of your hive would be the kind to, say, start attacking planets haphazardly with Sith ships that they took, would they?
When you say that, you get a tiny little voice in your head coming from this what, day-old queen at this point.
Mhm.
You just hear, "We're hungry!"
We'll need to stop by the
You
gotta
festival
eat
so
every 2
they
hours.
understand.
Want meat? We're hungry.
We'll get that
And
taken care of.
it does start to chew on the sleeve of your robe as you hold it. Like it's actually trying to actively eat the sleeve on your Jedi robe.
Please do not eat my clothes. They will not give you nutrients.
It kind of looks up at you and just like gently undoes its mandibles, leaving a puncture mark in your sleeve as it looks up at you. And all you hear in your voice with a question mark at the end is, meat? We're hungry.
Give it a little bit of time. After the debriefing, we will go to the mess hall.
Roll me a wisdom saving throw, please.
Wisdom save?
Yep.
Okay.
Is it gonna take a tantrum?
The funny thing is, none of us know what's happening right now because it's all
No,
Correct.
it's
You
just
just- yeah,
it's
you
all
just-
mental.
Nope.
17.
So you just hear it go like, meat! Like it's throwing a bit of a tantrum and it wants the food. Like now. Thankfully, the psychic onslaught that you would feel from this tiny being as a result of it being hungry barely batters at your defenses, you know, you being a fully grown and competent Jedi at this point.
Trained in patience.
Yeah, that too. So yeah, despite his best efforts, you hold fast here. And it does not manage to
Bully me.
bully
into
you,
going to the
yeah,
mess hall.
into getting it food now, into going to the mess hall now. As you guys will be invited to follow Garm to this council room.
Drags his feet there.
Follow, because I would have to.
Okay.
Walking with my Stanley full of coffee.
Okay. And you guys get there. And on your way, you kind of go through the comms area and a few other important looking, you know, rooms. And it's a hive of activity. There's definitely something going on. Reports are coming in right, left, and center.
5.
I mean, yeah, you, Mibble, you're just like, you know how busy this place usually is versus how it is busy now, and this sounds like... Let me just put it to you this way. This sounds like a store that sells, you know, that sells wrapping paper right about the time Christmas hits. Like, it's just... It's crazy right now. And as you're led through these rooms, you're eventually led to an important looking pair of doors. And they're fairly big, they're ornate. So those big double doors, and for those of you who have been before the council, you know this to be the rooms to the council. And the doors swing on their hinges as Master Garm approaches. And he comes in with the rest of you, and as he does, the other masters seated around the room kind of look at him. One of the chairs is conspicuously, you know, empty as the... Oh, I forgot his name. Crap. The one that died in the first session way back when. That Alia killed. Drawing a complete blank on him.
I wasn't here then, so I don't know.
No, you weren't even there. That was ages ago. Anyway,
Long ago.
let's just put it that way. Since that master's been killed, his seat has not been replaced yet. And as you enter, the rest of them kind of look at Master Garm and they say, "Ah, Master Garm, good of you to join us."
Kodev is visibly unnerved being in the Jedi Council chambers.
Hmm. And Amon Calamari, Jedi Master, immediately picks up after the first human one's greetings and says, in a voice that sounds like he's gargling water at the back of his throat, which I will not attempt to do for the sanity and benefit of everybody here, but he does follow up, with a Master Garb, give us one good reason not to get rid of your Jedi Master title after this ragtag bunch of misfits and outlaws you've tasked with a delicate and sensitive mission have rewarded your and our trust with, well, what I can only describe as the beginning of a galactic war. And as he says that, Garm holds a hand up and says, actually, fellow masters, I don't believe this is an all-out war. I'd like you to please listen to the testimony of our agents that were out on the field. I fear this may be... He takes a deep breath, closes his eyes for a minute, and then opens them again. Something more nefarious at play. After all, this is the Sith we're talking about. And the Mon Calamari Master, along with the rest of them, kind of turn their eyes towards you and the other three, Orta, as they'll look at you and Mibble first, and then to Kodav, and finally to Onli, and then they'll look back at you, Orta and Mibble, and they'll say, well, what happened?
That's a lot.
Well, yeah. When we got there, we did try to do things peacefully, but it seems that they were asking for a bit much.
They raise an eyebrow and they say, well, how do you mean?
Well, they wanted like a fleet or something to protect the planet and such.
At all times, yes.
Something that I'm pretty sure that we don't have the resources to, spare.
They raise their hand and they say, first of all, what of the technology that you were sent to either assess or recover?
The technology, out of character, just to double check, the technology was the Vratics themselves.
The Bacta.
Was the
Bacta.
Bacta.
Yeah, the Bacta they were creating.
Mm-hmm.
The technology we were sent to assess or recover involves the native species of the planet, the Vratics. I hold up Nixie for a moment.
Yes.
And it was a substance that the Vratics could create by ingesting some of the local flora.
Barley,
Yeah.
or whatever it
The
is.
local plants, a sort of very large barley, but as they did so, it dulled their senses and separated themselves from the hive. And the people who colonized the planet, or took advantage of this, and in essence
Basically abused it.
And in essence enslaved the Vratix people. Something that did not sit well with me. I cannot speak for my compatriots, but
The thing
in my
is,
eyes,
with their demands, something that we were pretty sure you probably wouldn't be able to spare or to meet, they seem to have already made deals with the Sith.
They were posturing, just trying to buy time. The Sith Armada was already on its way by the time we arrived.
A fleet, yeah, a fleet.
I see. Well, considering the discovery of a healing substance to rival Kolto, I'm not exactly surprised that, well, they would have sent warships. thankfully, if this is the level of information, not information, sorry, the level of importance that this technology represents, well, I'm sure the Republic will be more than happy to dispatch a fleet and take the planet back, or at the very least beat back the Sith Armada.
Well, the thing is, the Ractics.
The Vratics, yes.
Yeah. Well, apparently, the one that they had on their council asked us to liberate their people.
Oh.
To which we agreed to. Well, more or less, he agreed to.
They look back at Orta.
Yeah, or needs a minute.
Well, yep.
Oh, sorry, I was being called
Nope.
to for a second.
You're good.
What
You're
was
Alright,
that?
no worries. So, Mibble was explaining that you agreed to help the Vratics when they asked for help. Mibble is laying that blame at your feet.
I'll fucking... Pardon me. I'll step under the bus, no problem. I am not one that believes in people being enslaved by any means, whether it be by force or by mentally altering substances.
Which...
And so...
I helped...
Go ahead.
So I took it upon myself to lead the others into heading into the Vratix hive so that we may help them become free of this. The member of the council initially laid blame on water on the planet, but as we researched more, we realized it was the Bacta itself that they created that was altering their minds, separating them from the rest of their people.
Enslaving them.
The queen
And so, as
taught
you're
us as much.
Yep. As you're explaining that, the council members kind of look at each other, and then they look at you, and they say, "Well, we'll go over the details of the rest of your escapades, later, but the intended or unintended consequences of your current escapade has resulted in this." And one of them types a few buttons on the armrest of their council chair, and a holo display pops up with a map of the galaxy, and you can see that there's multiple planets that have been highlighted on the right side of the galaxy, on the eastern side of the galaxy, for lack of better terms. And those 4 planets that are highlighted right now are Yavin 4, Kashyyyk, Nal Hutta, and Nar Shaddaa specifically, and Tatooine. And this is where Garm kind of cuts off the council members once more and tells them, and this is precisely why I wanted to bring this to the attention of the council. If the Sith's objective was declaring war to the Republic, why would they be attacking Nar Shaddaa? That planet belongs to the Hutt cartels. This makes little to no sense. And he looks back at you guys and he says, "Has there been anything else that happened that you might be able to tie into these events?"
There was a Sith that was on the planet side. We fought him. He attacked us.
He attacked us initially.
We defended ourselves.
I kind of pull on Ota's sleeve slightly, trying to get his attention.
I'll sort of lean down.
Thinking towards you.
Mm-hmm.
Kashyyyk was the, what's it called?
the one planet we went to already, right?
Yes, with to find the master that had been missing for a time. Yes?
And
That
Garm.
one?
Oops, sorry, go ahead.
I'm remembering that right? Kashyyyk was that
Yes.
planet?
And
Yes.
yes, it's the Wookiee planet. And Garm will nod and add to that. Yes, not only that, but it's also the planet where our other member, and at that point you can see him pull up another picture on his display, and you see a quick picture of Zuri show up on the holo. And he says, this is where the other member of their team, Zuri, acquired the Sun Saber. For her own
Yeah,
safety, we've had
inside the
her
temple.
correct. We've had her go into hiding with the Sun Saber for it and her own protection right now. But considering Nar Shaddaa's unrelated
I got a
attachments to
question.
the Republic, well, non-existent attachments to the Republic, being in Hut space, actually.
I got a
And
question.
yes, go ahead.
Are there any temples or old structures that would be similar to the one that were on Kashyyyk, as well as the Vectix planet?
He raises an eyebrow and he says, you mean on the other planets being attacked?
Yeah.
Well, to my knowledge, Yavin 4 specifically does have temples upon it that date back to the Great Hyperspace War. For Nar Shaddaa and Tatooine, it's hard to tell. Tatooine is a desert planet, and the sand swallows everything with time. As for Nar Shaddaa, well, it's a giant. Well, it's a moon, really, that orbits on Nal Hutta, if memory serves. And the entire planet is essentially one big city. Who knows what you can find under the crust? Or should I say, under the upper layers? A little bit like Coruscant, if you've ever been there.
Nibble sort of goes through his bag and pulls out the old hologram that he got from the one from Kashyyyk, from the Temple of Kashyyyk.
Oh.
You mean the intelligence that was in the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the building in Kashyyyk had this little thing at the door. More or less, it was what allowed us entry and whatnot. The thing is, it speaks in very ancient language that we don't know of.
And he looks at it, and then he looks back at you, and he says, "What is it?"
It's kind of like one of those hologram things, like the ones in the library.
No, I figured as much. I meant from where, not planet-wise, but I've never seen something like this. And you turn it on?
I try to turn it on.
This was the one from the door, right? That was nuked?
Yes, yes.
Give me a tech roll.
Tech roll. Yay for my tech.
Yeah.
That is gonna be a 26.
Anybody else would have tried to turn this thing on, and they would have thought that it's toast. But you, having interacted with this stuff before and having rolled a stellar roll, you plug a few wires in it and realize that it was just a damage between the rest of the device and its power supply. And you do manage to play around with it, and for maybe 3-4 seconds, a picture of that Rakata springs up as a holographic display, kind of glitching and fritzing a bit, and then the device goes silent again.
God dang it.
And he looks at you and he says, "Do you know what manner of being this is?"
I It's apparently ricotta or something like that.
He looks back at the other masters and then back to you guys, and he says, "I think this will bear investigating in the archives." Hopefully we'll find something there. I'm quite confused, at least right now, as to who those beings are and how they relate to all of this. Have you bumped into them anywhere else?
Well, there was a similar temple on the planet where the Vectex were, but it looks like the whole thing was already remodeled by when we got there. They turned it into like a water station of some sort.
It was in the bottom of the Ratex nest.
He nods. Very well. The rest of the council and I will investigate this further. For now, please, go get some food. Go get some rest if you need it.
And just to let you know... You have free reign
of the temple. Yes.
Just to let you know, those temples are supposed to be some kind of terraforming facilities.
Yes.
Terraforming facilities.
Yeah.
The one on Kashyyyk kept the planet in an eternal state of spring and summer, and prevented fall.
Not to mention, this is out of character, but not to mention it was also supposedly the reason the trees grew so big there.
Yes. That's the terraforming. And they seemed to... It used the Force, balancing the Force as a sort of engine to do so.
As well as a guide map or whatever, like the whole building apparently works with the Force, your Force voodoo magic stuff.
All right, as I said, we'll do our homework. We'll figure it out. For now, please do me a favor and go on and get some food. Go get some rest. You have free reign of the temple. We'll call you guys back once we have a bit more information.
I'll real quick just sort of directly speak to Garm specifically and be like, when should I tell them that I taught the Vratics how to use the Force?
You can't see me, but I'm face palming right now. He looks at you, raises an eyebrow, says nothing, and just looks at you like he's, you know, and you kind of get the idea that he's telling you to just leave for now and he'd deal with that later. The distinct look of just get the fuck out of my room, of this room right now.
You've already dug 1,200 feet deep. You don't need to break the Earth's crust.
We also didn't mention that we, as far as we know, killed that Sith.
The Sith Lord. So yeah, we'll head to the cafeteria. I have a feeling someone could use a burger.
Yeah, then we'll probably go to the cafeteria too to get something to eat.
Azrin, you said you were very uncomfortable in that room.
Because I'm always being, like, fucking told, when am I going to be a Jedi already?
And as you're in that...
Kind of annoying.
And as you're in that room, right, and you're about to leave, the Masters motion to you as they let the others file out of the room. And... Yes, go ahead.
Just that I step back to the center of the room.
And they do look at you. And they say, Koda, how was that first foray into the field?
Unexpectedly complicated.
Indeed. Well. we do congratulate you on successfully making it out of there and contributing to hopefully a positive resolution of the entire situation.
Well, the administrators of that planet were basically holding the Tethix. I can never remember.
Ratix.
Holding the Ratix pretty much as slaves. Well, holding their queen as slave and drugging her children. So once she was set free from their hold, things just turned badly quickly.
It did take good discipline and mental fortitude to follow along with these events and not get lost amidst the chaos of it all. And then they kind of look at each other and then look back at you and they say, "Will you finally accept your rightful place as a Jedi Knight?" We do believe this situation, as a test, has proven amply your merit.
Well, I respectfully asked that I be allowed to continue serving as a medic. I don't feel that I have the will to dedicate myself to fully being a Jedi Knight at this moment in time.
So they're going to look at each other when you say that, and then look back at you, and then one of them will shrug and say, "So be it. If anything, should it be your destiny, the Force will bring you into our fold when the time is right." And at that note, the doors are opened once more for you to exit and meet up with the rest of the crew.
Gives them a courteous bow and walks out, and he's thinking to himself, "I'm gonna hear it from my aunt any minute now."
Yep. It doesn't take... You don't make it to the cafeteria before your personal comms are beeping. And it is the usual... I won't say high-pitched and shrill, but you can tell the emotions are riding high. You know what I'm saying? As once more you do get the whole spiel as to why the heck didn't you accept it? It's a great honor, blah, 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 blah.
We have to have this conversation yet again. I am a physician.
Because yet again, you made the wrong decision. You know how family is.
Got this tiger mom over here, helicoptering.
Yup.
It's like, granted, yes, I have proficiency with the Force. Probably more so than I would like. But I truly believe that my calling at this moment in time is to be a healer.
Oh, the Jedi have healers?
If I become a Jedi Knight, it will take me away from being a full-time doctor.
Ah, you're impossible. And on that note, you know, she'll grumble and chit-chat with you a little bit. She will still ask you how you're doing, if you're okay, in good health, etc. You know, the typical helicopter family member thing. Before finally, you know, kind of hanging up. It feels almost like it's a bit of a one-sided conversation. You know, again, how they can be.
Yeah,
When they just blab.
I know she cares, but it's like
overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The rest of you in the calf. The situation, funnily enough, here. I'm assuming everybody went to grab a bite. Is that what I understood correctly? First of all, just to let me.
Nibble did.
I certainly didn't have a choice in the matter.
No, you had a screaming child throwing a big bigger and bigger tantrum into your brain.
Yes. The headache. I was about to get a headache.
Yo. Only, what are you up to?
Yeah, I could always use some food.
So
Food
you
and
get
some
there,
listening to hopefully get some lay of the land and what's going on here.
and I mean the temple's fairly bustling with activity. Like I said, there's a bit of a galactic situation ongoing right now. But Padawan is still training. People still need to eat, and food is still being served. And say what you will, while the food is not the most opulent or extravagant, Jedi mentality here being of not overindulging or abusing.
Did we lose
no.
Tilt?
Oh
I
god.
think we lost Tilt. Oh
you hear me?
no. This.
Yes, you're back.
Okay.
Oh, you're back. Thank the Lord.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, it hiccuped.
It's okay.
I was gonna say yes. That considering they're not gonna necessarily go for crazy opulent food, but again, with a lot of growing younglings here that are learning to be Jedi and going through quite a few calories per day, I'm assuming seconds and extra portions are not being refused to those who request it. I'm assuming Only, are you a big eater?
Yes.
Like, are you going for seconds and thirds and whatnot?
Seconds, yes. Probably not thirds. She is more
Okay.
lean muscle than she is like bulky and big.
Okay.
Kodaf just has
The-
like one healthy plate when he finally gets there.
Nice.
He doesn't tend to do seconds.
Understandably. Mibble?
He gets himself a coffee and pretty much something like a salad.
And I will
Makes
admit,
sense.
there would be thirds if they're smaller portions.
There you go. Orta?
3 plates. 1 for me. 2 for baby.
Baby's plate is all meat.
Yes,
And-
exactly.
and
At
so
least 17 meat patties.
This, funnily enough, just turns into this thing where the child and Only are just eating.
Mhm.
And you can even see, like, some of the kitchen staff kind of, like, pointing at you and at the tiny little bug, basically, that's just eating like crazy at this point. And when you guys finish eating, the little bug has eaten its 2 plates, and then it looks at you, Orta, and it says with even like a yawn in your brain, "Still hungry."
Jesus Christ.
But it yawns, like you can tell it's full. It just wants to eat more, but it's full and it wants to sleep, and it's hungry and it wants to sleep at the same time.
Orto will say, "Let your stomach settle. We'll have more after you take a nap.
More.
Later."
More. As it passes out.
Told you later.
Clearly, almost like face first in the empty plate. And back as far as the cooking staff goes, you can see one of the cooking staff looking a little disappointing and like sliding a couple of credits chits to the other cooking staff.
God damn it. In a Jedi kitchen, no less. For shame.
I didn't say they were Jedi, they're just cooking staff, but yes.
I never said they were Jedi. I said it was
But
a
in
Jedi
a kitchen, yes. Oh, yes, of the Jedi Temple, yes. That being said, it looks like you guys still have a little bit of time before Garm calls you guys back. Is there anyone else you'd like to visit? Anything else you'd like to do while you're here?
Only needs to buy a couple vibro spears. She lost both of hers. I can't be a walking armory if I don't have some spears.
Correct.
Nibble's going to pay a visit to Brick, I think it is.
Brick.
Right.
Isn't Brick in
He's
jail?
in jail. Didn't we?
Yeah.
With the other Sith lady?
Am I?
Hmm?
Drawing a blank. No, he was not on the ship with you guys when all that stuff happened. He has not. He stayed in jail when you guys left, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
When the other Soul Saber was detonated and everything, he was not on the ship with you guys. Okay.
No.
Um.
No, he took Davi's death a little hard.
Right, and I do remember he attempted to kill Alia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was jailed. Correct. All right.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, yeah, that's been like what 6 months since we talked about these characters. Y'all making me dig the old
It's been
notes
a
out.
little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. You're gonna go and see him in prison, Mibble.
Yeah. I'll pay
Okay.
him a visit. See how he's doing.
You go see him, and well, first thing you notice is while he is a little bit leaner, he hasn't lost too much of his muscle. He's clearly been maintaining peak physical condition. While
The last time I visited him, he was exercising immensely.
Correct. And so he has maintained his physical shape. And when you walk in, he looks up and he says, "Ah, boss."
Hey, how you doing?
He kind of looks at the four walls of the jail cell and he kind of shrugs, looking back at you through the force field that keeps him in the cell. Still stuck in here, as you can see.
Yeah. Well, have you been on your best behavior?
He rolls his eyes and he says, "Well, not like I could have strangled her myself. She's 2 halls down and I can't get anywhere from here, so yes."
To be honest, you should just let it go.
When you say that, his face closes and hardens.
Oh.
Do you really think Davi's want you to pursue this?
He looks at you and he says, "That shooter killed."
Yeah, we lost you again.
Oh no. The
1,
storm.
2, 1, 2 testing.
There you go. You came back.
Come back through, you come
We
back
heard
through.
killed. That's what it cut off.
Yes, he says, "That shooter killed my brother and is responsible for Davi's death."
Yes.
Do you really think I'm gonna frickin' let it go?
As hard as it may be, pursuing this isn't going to do you any good. All it's going to do is have you end up back here.
Can you do me a favor and roll me a persuasion check?
Persuasion, okay. Uh, 17?
Okay. You can see that, like, surface. And he stands there almost like towering menacingly over you, right? But there's a force field between the two of you. And you can almost hear his teeth like grind with how tightly locked his jaw is. And he turns, lets some very, I won't say bestial roar, but you know, this animalistic roar out as he slams his fist against one of the actual real walls of his containment cell here.
Mm-hmm.
And those are solid stone walls. And you still hear the meaty impact of his fist just echo. Before he turns back to you. And you can see tears running down his face as he screams at you. "What am I supposed to do then, huh?"
How about living your life as you're supposed to? Look, I know a lot of bad happened to you, but
A lot of bad. We don't want to get canceled. Happened to you, yes.
But you keep holding on to this, it isn't going to do you any good. You're just going to be ending up rotting in the jail cell for the rest of your life if you keep it up.
As opposed to what? The two people who gave any meaning to my life are dead.
I want to ask, out of character, I want to ask you something.
Yep.
I still have my deck of many things. The ability to reach out and talk to somebody from that one card.
Yes.
I also have the Kyber crystal that Davi had.
Okay.
I want to try to show the Kyber crystal to Brick and forward that vision to him so he can talk to Davi.
Oh shit. Okay.
Wow.
Hopefully
Tam's little space. I'm sorry, Tam. I saw that smirk. I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
I showed him the Kyber crystal, and I'm like, you see this? This is a Kyber crystal that Davi picked up.
Okay.
Something that Jedis tend to get when they become Jedi. So what? I don't know the whole process, but hey.
Okay.
But when you get out of here, I want to give this to you as a part of something of hers that you can have.
Okay.
And I sort of like hold it up to him and see if you know.
Okay. Yeah, as you do that, whatever mystical power that deck of many things had given or granted you here manifest, and you see basically the Force ghost of Onley slowly manifest.
Not only, you mean
Not
Onley's
Onley,
dead?
wow. Yeah, character number 463 of Dilettantes. Sorry, it was 52, my bad.
Hey, look, this
I
one
meant
lasted a
Davi,
little
sorry.
mini arc, so
Navi, Only, what was it? Zizu, the Zuri. You guys make my life hell with your naming scheme.
Always. That's the goal.
that's a goal.
But yes,
we
all
talk
that
about.
to say, you do manifest, and you do have Davi's Force Ghost manifest here in front of Brick, and for a minute he forgets that he's in a jail cell, and he puts his hand against the force field and gets basically repulsed off because it is a repulsor field and gets blasted back to the back of the cell here.
Ow.
And he kind of gets up, rubbing the back of his head, and like walks up to the cell and almost like choking, you know, because he already had like tears running down his face. There's this hulk of a man here, just mumbles Davi's name, almost a half whisper. As he looks at her at her Force Ghost.
Davi's going to kind of focus in on the sound, taking in where he's at and what kind of situation, what just happened, and just quietly whisper, "What have you done to end up here?"
And as you ask the question, being one with the Force, the answer naturally comes to your head here. He doesn't even have to really explain. He will vocalize, and he's gonna say, he's gonna say, "I almost got it back for what she did to you."
And Davi will look a little sad and be like, "This is not her choice. What happened to me? I knew the risks when I chose the actions I chose, and I accepted the consequence."
It's because of her that your sister's dead. It's because of her that my brother's dead. It's because of her that you're dead. She doesn't get to do that to people anymore.
No, and I'm sure she's locked up somewhere in these halls as well, which will prevent her from doing it to anyone ever again. But the choice I made was still mine.
He looks at you, and you can see that he's really sad, and he wants to say something, but you can tell that he's holding himself back from saying it.
And Davi's face does soften with emotion as it saddens her to see him in this state. So angry with the world.
And oh yeah, go ahead.
So she does, after a moment. You know, if I did have one regret, it was not getting to spend more time with you, with the others. I did want to get to know you more. It is unfortunate that I no longer can.
He looks at you and he says, "And so what am I supposed to do now?"
Live. Live for me. Live for your brother. Live for my sister. Live a life all of us could be proud of. So that when your end comes, we can meet again and you can have stories to tell us.
When you say that, you can see him just, I don't want to say breaks, but shifts as his shoulders do slump forward a little bit. And
I hope in the process that you can learn to forgive, and not forgiving her for killing people, but even if you have to think of it as a punishment for her. Her anger, your anger, only feeds her. The worst you can do to her is to not let her have any power over you.
And when you say that, he just slumps to the ground.
Davi's heart's breaking. She can say to him like that.
Clearly, he'd been, I don't want to say sustaining himself with his anger for the last few weeks, but he's definitely been, using a motivating factor, and I think at that point, for the first time since Davi has passed, he's allowing himself to actually properly grieve and not just use it as fuel, as a motivating factor. But what's in front of you, unfortunately, right now, at the very least, Mibble, is a man whom has lost everything and is not sure in what direction he's gonna have to go now.
Hey.
Davi's gonna turn to Mibble at this point and look down at them and be like, I know it's a little rude of me to ask you a favor at this point, as you brought me here. Take care of him. Don't let him end up here.
I'll try.
See if you can't take him with you. Change of scenery might be good for him. A purpose might be good for him. can Davi step through this force field and get closer to Brick?
You're a force ghost. You do whatever the hell you want.
Awesome. I know he won't feel it, but she will stoop down and give him a hug. Much like the hug that she got from him in the medical bay.
Mm-hmm.
When he came out of the.
And as you hug him, for a brief instant, he feels like something warm is embracing him and extends his own arms as if to hug back. And unfortunately, they close on nothing but thin air as Davi's force ghost is no longer with us.
God damn it, guys.
I didn't do it.
I had this thought for a while.
I love it, but god damn it.
I didn't do it. Don't blame me.
Y'all, I swear. I took the right episode to have my camera down.
Right?
Well,
I think the worst part about that is I was sitting there and kind of going, I wish Davi could talk to him.
well, there you go. Wish granted. Thank you, Mibble.
Long live Davi.
You know,
Long live Davi.
Get it right. Nadavi.
Marta, please. So, this having been done and having happened, you... Wow, man, right in the feels for everybody. Mibble, you can see that right now, I mean, Brick probably needs a little bit of time alone.
What? I didn't quite catch that.
He
I
needs
was
some
saying,
time alone.
You can see that Brick probably needs a little bit of time alone to process that. You should probably come back a little later.
Yeah.
Back later.
Nibbles sort of goes. I know this is all hard. I'll give you some time, and I'll come back and see you again. I promise.
He says nothing, and as you're about to exit the hall and the room, you just hear almost a faint whisper, which again is uncharacteristic for one as large as Brick, whose, voice is usually booming, and you just hear that little whisper with, "Thanks, boss."
You're welcome. And Nibble leaves.
And now to give everybody scene whiplash, let's move on to Orta. Orta, do you have anything, anywhere, anything you want to do here before we go back to the council meeting?
Main thing I can think of is I would want to sort of go to like wherever like lightsabers are tuned up, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
Like go to like the lightsaber workshop, I guess, and sort of like make sure my lightsaber is sort of in good condition.
Okay.
After recent events, it kind of just, I feel like I need to kind of just reassess, reground myself with it.
Okay.
And then, if possible, I'd also want to head to the librarian who helped me previously sort of discover, like, that story about, oh gosh, this was months ago, the Jedi who was able to sort of fix a kyber crystal, or heal a kyber crystal. And, yeah. That's like the main things I can think of. Also, obviously, making sure that Nixie is sort of doesn't wake up and just kind of keeping an eye on her. I don't trust leaving her alone on the ship, even if asleep. So, Yeah. Yeah, that's that.
Hey, so
Can I go seek out Master Garm?
yes, all three of these things can happen. Very quickly for Orta, can you give me a quick tech roll?
Certainly try. Orta's out of his depth with this, but he tries his best. 6 on the tech roll.
Yeah, you inspect it, and as far as you can tell, everything about it looks normal, same as usual.
Okay. As long as it looks fine.
Yep. We'll just go real quick to Kodov, and we'll come back to you for the rest. Kodov, you go seek Master Garm, and it takes a while before he goes back to his chambers, as he was probably debating with the council. And yeah, you walk up to his chambers, and you kind of bump into him on the way in as he looks at you and he says, "Ah, Kodov."
Ah, there's something I wish to give to you.
He blinks a few times.
There's something I wish to give to you.
Hi,
Oh.
Raiders. Sorry. Just wanted to say hi.
Hey!
Welcome
Hello,
in.
everybody.
Thanks for coming.
Raiders, welcome.
Okay.
Behind closed doors, please.
Of course. And you'll see that he'll open the door to his cell and let you in.
So,
So, you mean his room, chambers?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. It's like-
Wait a minute.
Well, it's not a prison cell. It's a very austere room. There's not a lot of stuff there. It's fairly barren, as you can tell once you walk in. There's a cot. There's a few basic objects. 3 Jedi robes that have definitely seen better days as they've been fixed and put back together many times. The edges of the sleeves have been frayed by time. Again, you can say you could say that this man leaves a very
humble life.
yeah, humble life would be the better term. And yes, it looks like a monk's cell. It does not look like an opulent room. Actually, funny enough, your rooms in the temple were better equipped than his.
I hand him over the 2 Sith Lord lightsabers that I have.
And he instantly feels the dark side energies that have seeped into this, as these weapons have obviously been used to commit murder over and over again. And he looks at you and he says, "I assume this is from the Sith Lord you all fought on Typhera."
Yes. He was the challenging opponent.
If what I sent from these lightsabers is true, then I'm surprised you've all, no offense, made it out alive.
It was the first time I've seen any Sith or been made aware of any such powers belonging to a Sith. He just refused to die, no matter how much damage we dealt to him.
That is most unusual.
I'm still going through the medical logs of the ship that we commandeered. It seems that he's been doing experimentation on his body to enhance it in some way.
As you say that, he nods and he says, "Careful not to delve too deeply into the mysteries of the Sith."
Well, granted, I wouldn't want to make anyone an abomination, but there is body enhancement abilities on the light side. If I can glean some way of perhaps making that stronger, I don't see the harm. Granted, mutating anyone to the point that he was is definitely ill-advised. whatever he was no longer what he was when he was brought into this world.
And when you say that, he furrows his brow and nods before saying, just be careful. Most Sith abilities, at the risk of throwing a movie cliche, are twisted and unnatural and usually all lead to the same place.
I know.
Well, thank you for bringing these. I'll see to it that they're either purified or destroyed.
If they can be purified, I'd be most amazed. There was palpable maliciousness that came off of him.
He nods. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you can almost taste the evil that emanated from his person.
He nods and he says, well, just remember one thing. No matter how far fallen someone is, there's always a chance at redemption.
I will have to take your word for it, Master Garm. I don't see a path back from what he became. Maybe after a few years and some more experience. But I truly wish to not face anything like that again in the near future.
He nods. He says, well, the Force guides us. You'll have to, unfortunately, see where you end up, and our paths are our own. I unfortunately can't promise you anything.
Understandable. And he'll give Master Garm a respectful bow, and I'll take my leave. Thank you.
As you're about to walk out, he says, oh, and Kodav.
Yes.
He gives you a little bit of a roguish grin here, the kind you would have seen on Han Solo, and he says, "Good job not letting the Council push you." And he snickers a little bit.
Yeah. It's not that I don't want to let them push me. It's just I feel I serve my comrades better in the position I am now as a doctor than as a Jedi Knight. Being a Jedi Knight, there are certain obligations that would take me away from being able to dedicate myself to being a healer.
He nods. Then he says, well, again, either way, good on you for sticking by your guns. Not everybody on the Council believes you should be forced into knighthood.
I do appreciate that.
He nods, and you can probably sense that he himself has had a history with conformity under the Jedi Order, and it took a little while before he found his own spot. As he nods, and as far as he's concerned, the conversation is over.
And again, he'll respectfully bow and, leave.
Very good.
He'll start making his way back to the ship, unless there's somewhere else that he has to be.
Nowhere that he has to be, and if there's anywhere he wants to be, that's on him. Just let me know. Onling?
Yes.
You said you wanted to acquire weaponry, correct?
Yes.
All right. So funny enough, this is not obviously, the great market street of Tatooine or anything, but if such a thing even exists, but there is definitely a quartermaster for the Jedi Order here at the temple, whom you can probably either requisition or buy basic-ish gear off of. probably after asking around, you'll be brought to what you now assume is the of the temple, and nobody seems to be around. And after ringing the buzzer a couple of times, you see Garm walk up. And for those of you who don't remember, he was also the one running basically the quartermaster stuff back on Tatooine, so it kind of makes sense that he took over that stuff when he got here. And he looks at you, Onley, and he says, "Yes."
Didn't think they had council members running their armory.
He laughs a little bit. He says, "Huh, being a council member just means more work, not less."
I was just looking to replace a few weapons I lost during the encounter.
Oh, and what are we looking for?
Just a couple of vibro spears.
Okay. So he pulls out a data pad and starts looking through it. And he looks at the weapon.
So, there you are.
Nope. Did I hiccup again?
Yeah, just a small one.
Yeah, that storm's really slapping. He was saying yes. He nods and he says, "Well, they're not the most popular of weapons. We do have a few of them lying around, and I don't think they'll really be missed. Yeah, they'll 2 of them will set you back 250 credits.
250? She'll pay him.
All right. He'll take the 250 credits. He'll give you a pair of vibro spears. They're just basic old vibro spears. You got the stat line for them. You know how they work. And yep, he'll give those to you. He'll nod and he'll say, checking his pad, he'll say, "Well, it's going to be time for your follow-up meeting with the council soon. I'll meet you guys at the chambers when you're ready." Yes.
One other thing. You guys don't happen to have a grappling hook.
He kind of like stops halfway, turns around. As he was almost like ready to leave, you know, he's in a bit of busybody mode, running around kind of thing. As he doubles back into the armory, punches in something else into the data pad, and it starts to load up. And he kind of like shakes it a little bit as it's taking its sweet time. Mumbles something along the lines of, you know, how the temple should have paid for the higher end holonet.
You know, I thought you guys were all supposed to be about patience.
He raises an eyebrow, looks at you over the data pad, and gives you like that same rogue smile that he gave.
And she just has a completely like innocent look on her face, like she's playing innocent.
Yeah, no, but he gives you the same roguish smile that he gave Kodav, and he says, "Yes, and we're also people, not droids." And thankfully, that little banter exchange was enough. And he nods before pulling out one of those grappling hooks, the very same, if you'll remember, that Luke Skywalker used in the Death Star in the first movie. The belt, set up one, and plops it, complete with the belt attachment and everything, on the countertop next to you, and he nods and he says 50 credits.
Perfect. We had a shaft incident. She grabs the belt and leaves with that. Doesn't explain.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
I said she turns to leave because she wasn't planning on explaining that.
No, that's fine. You turn to leave, and he's kind of like left standing there looking at you, like not sure if you wanted anything else or not, kind of thing. So there's like moment of hesitation before he kind of shrugs and just like walks on back towards the council chambers. Orta, last but not least, what else did you want to do here before we move on?
The main thing was I already sort of did a quote-unquote checkup on my lightsaber tune-up, quote-unquote. But I would also want to head to the library and sort of keep researching the things regarding repairing lightsabers.
The stuff we discussed off of.
Yeah.
Got you.
The purification process for kyber crystals. Trying to understand everything I can about sort of like that process.
Absolutely. Can somebody with admin permissions get rid of the ad, please? That being said, Yes, so for the library, you go to the library, right? And the librarian sees you walk in, and she smiles. It's that, oh, my faithful number two has returned. She laughs a little bit. That, benevolent old lady laugh as you
I,
walk in. And
I
she
didn't
says,
realize it had that title so quick.
I have to admit, since you've been gone, the library's been hard to keep in good order. Younglings these days make such a mess.
No respect for books.
Well,
Well,
data slates, but I know what you're talking
that is
about, yes.
Hey, hey. I was
I'm
very respectful
old-fashioned.
as a child.
She nods. Well, what brings you to the archives today?
I wanted to study more on the process of kyber crystal purification and the such, predominantly.
I believe, unfortunately, there's nobody in the archives named Moron of the Kyber Crystals, but I'm kidding. That being said, yes, sure.
Don't
Let's
forget
go.
to look up Darth Will You Ever Die while you're there.
Alright, die, you red bastard.
Why did you you guys naming him that killed me, by the way. Darth, why the
Good.
hell won't you die? That was hilarious. Anyway, um, but no, jokes aside, yeah, you ask for more information about about the kyber crystals and everything, and she looks at you and she says, "Well, I'm afraid I've shown you everything the last time you asked. Unless you have
Right.
more information I could use to refine the search." Maybe a name, anything?
Gosh, do I remember a name? I remember learning a name, but it's been like 7,000 years,
Are
so it's
you
not sticking
telling
in my
me?
brain.
Are you telling me you didn't take notes?
I
I'm
feel like
kidding. I'm
Womp
kidding,
womp
bro. I'm kidding. I'm
womp.
yanking your chain, bro. I'm yanking your chain. I have it actually right here. You were, I believe, talking about. Oh wait, no. This is from. One sec. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong article because you know what? Good old Disney decided to retcon everything and make everything different, and I'm not using Disney's canon. I am using the old pre-Disney Legends canon, if one would call it that.
I prefer our canon, where the Ratics are Jedi,
I
personally.
mean, look, that's going to be something to be determined in the future. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Okay, 1 second here. There we go. Legends. Now we're in the right category. My apologies for the slight delay, guys. Let me go pull up the name.
Thank you.
Did we get the name for that guy?
I don't know if I ever gave you guys the name, but we'll find it.
I did learn the name at one point. I believe it was when we were on Kashyyyk.
Yes, I'm
It
pretty sure it
showed
was in
up.
the temple. Yes, because he showed up in
Yeah.
the visions, I think, that uh Zuri had when she touched the saber.
Yeah.
Um
Yet again, it comes back to Zur.
All roads lead to Zuri.
All Zuri's fault, honestly.
let's see. I think I have it here. Give me 1 second. I think I have him here. Let me just double check. Nope, that's not the right one. This is 45 after Yavin. This was pre. This was Old Republic, the one that I'd pull. Actually, pre Old Republic. Neither. Ah, I know why it's under this. Sorry, I have like so many tidbits of lore here that I'm trying not to confuse them. Give me 1 minute. I have it right here. If it'll properly load and my internet won't die. Mm. So unfortunately, I think they moved the article, or it's been changed since, unfortunately. I'll get back to you guys with the name later, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Maybe when we go on break, I'll have the time to
Yeah.
to find out. I just don't want to stall this for too long.
Yeah.
But that being said, yes, you do know the name. You can give her the name provided Zuri shared it with you guys.
I'm gonna say yes. That it was
Uh,
shared.
Yep, and you guys do look up the name, and you get maybe like 2 or 3 mentions about this person in some of the older texts. Text. There's really not that much to go by other than this person, even for a Jedi, traveled the galaxy quite a bit. And there are reminders of, or not reminders, but I guess notes you could say, of some of the planets that they have had visited. What they did there, you don't know, but some of the planet names go as follow: Nar Shaddaa, Tatooine, Kashyyyk. And after Kashyyyk, the trail is lost, as he seems to have vanished.
Nar Shaddaa, Tatooine. Oh gosh. What were the other planets you said?
The last one was Kashyyyk, and there was no other planets after Kashyyyk, where his trail goes cold, and apparently they lost track of him.
Well, isn't that an interesting coincidence?
As yes, those are the same planets you were mentioning earlier. Or the Jedi Council, should I say, we're mentioning earlier. Along with Yavin 4, of course.
Hmm.
And on that note, you get a very loud beeping sound coming from your personal comms, with a direct message requesting all of you to once more gather at the council chambers.
Acknowledged.
Yep.
Okay?
Understood.
And so the rest of you open up the council doors once more. You're greeted by Garm and the rest of the council. And they look at you. The hologram of the current Sith incursion into Republic territory still, well, Republic and Hutt territory, clearly, still brightly flashing in the middle of the council room. And they look at you guys before nodding to each other and saying, well, the council has determined that this incursion is not a standard war incursion. We're not quite sure what they want, but clearly they've decided to attack these worlds with a purpose. The pattern is too, well, convenient.
Uh, my my research has led me to a possible theory.
Oh,
Insert Jedi Master's name here.
mhm.
Was studied in the art of purifying and curing blood, healing blood's kyber crystals. And their journey followed along to each of the planets that have been targeted thus far. Not all of them, but at the very least 3 of them, before they were lost track of.
They look
This
at
may
each other
still
and...
be
Oh, go ahead.
This may still be connected to the Sith who are working towards creating or finding a soul saber.
So they look at each other, look back at you, and they say, this is worrisome. Well, the council. This is still convenient nonetheless, as the council has decided that while the Republic will focus its efforts on fleet-to-fleet action to push the Sith fleets out of Republic space, you four will be tasked with investigating each of those worlds and finding out what the heck the Sith wanted with each of them.
Well, we've already at least interacted with 2 of them.
Oh, which ones? I know of
The-
Kashyyyk.
As mentioned, the home planet of the Vratics also had one such facility.
Oh, right. That one was not even on the radar for any further Sith incursions.
It may well be a part of why they were so adamant on making deals with that planet.
He nods,
On top of the Bacta.
and he says, well, this begs only one question. As do understand that while the Sith have not yet had time to fully establish themselves, or establish a presence around each of these planets, the longer you take to get to one of the planets, the more the Sith will have reinforced it. As such, I need you all to pick which of the planets you want to start with first. And the answer will have to be found after the break, as we will be going for a quick 5 to 10 minute break, and we will be following back up right after.
we are back.
All right.
Hi. It's my fault.
Welcome
Sorry.
I don't know what we're talking about. We're blaming Zoro. We agreed on this.
Oh right, it's Zoro's fault.
Always.
Always.
So, that being said, you guys were offered a choice as to which planet you wanted to start with. Obviously, Kashyyyk's crossed off. You guys have already been there. But you're still left with 3 more planets you need to investigate. So, will you start with the desert planet of Tatooine? Will you start with the city planet of the moon of Nar Shaddaa controlled by the criminal cartel known as the Hutt? Or will you start by going to, last but not least, Yavin 4, the jungle planet with the Masasai Temple? Or temples.
Honestly. Personally, I say Yavin, because the other 3 were noted. It was not, meaning it either has the earliest or the latest information on the lead that I personally have.
I'm up for anything you guys are.
So, it is obviously not all up to me. So whatever you...
Doesn't matter to me, just tell me where I need to go.
Mibble's like, I'm paid overtime anyway.
Only, Kodev? Any perspective?
I'm fine with whatever.
Kodev, do you have any insight?
I mean, I'm just. I mean, what was that 4th planet you mentioned that got attacked?
Yavin was the 4th planet mentioned. Yavin, Kashyyyk, Nar
Well, Yavin
Shaddaa.
4 specifically, but yes,
Yavin
Nar
4
Shaddaa and then Tatooine are the 3 planets you guys have to choose from right now.
Yeah.
And am I aware of about the attacks or the findings on the other 3 planets? Because if not, I would say try Navin 4.
Orta did specify about the things about the purifier guy going to the other 3 planets. Yavin wasn't mentioned in those 3. His trail was left on Kashyyyk, on Nar Shaddaa, and Tatooine.
And what was the last planet attacked by the Sith?
Yavin.
They were all attacked at the same time. Yeah, Yavin, Kashyyyk, Nar Shaddaa, and Tatooine were all attacked.
Yeah.
They were a synchronized attack.
Which
Yep.
one held out? Which one held out the longest?
They're all holding out more or less.
They're being
it's
attacked
intense.
currently.
It's intense fighting on all 4 right now.
Then I would vote for whoever is the closest.
Well, that's the other funny bit. Kashyyyk is the closest, but you've already been there. The other 3 are more or less the same distance from the core, which is where Tython is situated. That's why you really have, like, the pick of the litter here.
I mean, if we're following the trail of that person who you said did the thing with the crystal things, whatever that was, I mean, you guys were already on Kashyyyk, so I think you already... That's how you got his name, so probably one of the other ones.
If that information wasn't shared,
I just spent, like, right before when they were talking about it, when we came back to the meeting, I sort of shared that I did research and I learned about a Jedi who was involved in the purification of kyber crystals and, like, healing of kyber crystals that went to each of these planets, and that Yavin was the only one that wasn't mentioned on his sort of journey.
Because
I
his
did
trail had been lost.
sort of talk about that.
Was there an order to the planets that he went to? Or is it just that his trail has been picked up on those 3?
Was there an order, Bill?
Kashyyyk was the latest one, and I believe it was Nar Shaddaa, Tatooine, then Kashyyyk.
Nor should Tatooine, and then Kashyyyk. Kashyyyk was the latest one.
Correct.
Indeed.
Okay.
That's where the trail goes cold, where the last entry is from, if you want to put it that way.
Okay. Perfect.
So I guess with that, maybe there's more you could find on Kashyyyk that could point to his next place. Pick up the trail, try and find where it went.
Or verifying on Kashyyyk that he did go to Yavin.
Yeah. Anything that they could have wanted from Kashyyyk, we have already gotten. I feel as though the best bet would be to make the educated guess that Yavin would be a good place to head in that regard.
Look, I'm just the muscle. Point me towards the direction you want to go.
Now I'm a pilot.
So, the council looks at you, Orta, and you can feel their eyes weigh heavily upon you as they look at you, clearly expecting an answer.
I'm gonna say Yavin. Is everyone okay with me saying Yavin?
Yes. Out of character,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm pretty sure that's what you're looking for.
So, at this point, they nod and they go, all right. Well, without delay, please, by all means, go ahead.
Fingers crossed we won't have to start another coup.
Don't we
I
have
don't
to
say
get our
that to
ship?
the council.
Don't we have to get our ship registered?
Oh, we'll take care of that with the Republic. Don't worry about it. But if anything, the first thing I would appreciate you guys doing is please, this time, at the very least, stay in touch.
I believe our signals were jammed once we got to the last planet was the main issue there.
True.
And then that was the main reason for loss of comms.
Well, just do your
But
best.
we will do our utmost to
Very
keep in
good.
touch.
May the Force be with you all. As they clearly indicate
With
that
your
the meeting is
spirit.
over. You're funny. And on that note, you are basically dismissed from the council chambers here.
I mean, yeah,
Oh.
heading out.
Okay.
That was intense.
Anybody else you guys want to visit, see, do, talk to, anything before you head on out?
Only knows no one here.
I just want to call my aunt and let her know that I'm heading back out on another mission.
Okay. And she gives you the whole spiel about being careful, watching out for yourself, come back alive, blah, 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 blah. The typical, again, helicopter relative thing. She adds, of course, a jab saying, you know, why couldn't you just accept a cushy job in the temple that would keep you safe?
What film would that be?
And of course, she starts yelling at you from the other side of the, from the other end of the comm link. And it turns into that, like, high-pitched rant you're used to hearing.
I love you too, Tita.
Don't you dare hang up on me, etc., etc. Good.
I would personally want to just pay a visit to Alia
Okay.
before I head out.
All right.
Not putting my lightsaber in a safe place
Of course.
on the ship before visiting.
Okay.
Keeping the small one with me. I do not
Oh.
trust small one on their own.
Okay.
And I don't get paid enough to do babysitting.
Exactly. I imagine I tried to ask Mibble, and Mibble's like, "You gonna pay me extra?" Like, I don't have that right.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll head over to Alia, making sure not to have my lightsaber with me. That's that.
So you walk to the prison and pass by Brick's cell, where you can see him looking fairly morose. And walk on down the hall until you get to Alia's cell. And when you get there, she's, I'd say, I would have normally said sitting, but in her case, she's kind of floating there, arms open, legs crossed, almost in a meditative position as she's basically hovering 4 feet off the ground, eyes closed.
Not to interrupt, but hello.
Okay. Yeah, you say hi. She opens an eye, teeters a little bit midair, almost falls, kind of catches herself and lands on her feet before looking at you. She goes, "Oh, Orta! Hey."
Hello?
She raises an eyebrow and she goes, "So, hey."
Just checking in, making sure that your
I'm still in
recovery
my
is-
cell." She laughs.
that your recovery is going well.
I'm sick and tired of being in here, but you know.
Understandable. Can I ask you an odd question?
She raises an eyebrow.
The blade you wielded,
Hmm.
it affected you in some way that I'm not totally sure of. But I wanted to know, were you in control at those times?
She raises an eyebrow and she says, I'm not sure what you're asking of me."
When we first met you, after
Mm-hmm.
you claimed that blade,
Mm-hmm.
I could see you trapped in your own head. And another part of you, or another entity or something, was piloting everything.
Okay. Look, I wish I could tell you more, but I remember putting the lightsaber together, turning it on, and then everything until recently was just a big red haze. I don't kind of remember much of it.
I'd like to roll an insight check on that.
Please go ahead.
And oh, 21 on the insight check.
Okay. You can tell that what she's telling you is not a lie, but it's not the whole truth either. There's more to it than that.
I understand you might not be comfortable to talk about it. I hope that you are one day. But please, I would like to know the whole truth of that situation at some point or another. I imagine it wasn't a comfortable time. I couldn't imagine being trapped in my own head.
She kind of rolls her eyes when you say that, and she adds, this time sounding a little irritated. Anybody ever told you have terrible manners with gals?
No, but I assumed.
She kind of shrugs. And then she looks at you and she says, well, I didn't lie to you if that's what you're implying.
I'm not saying you lied to me. That was not the intent.
Well, if you're going to respect that, I don't want to say anymore. You should have just left it at that. Why add all the extra stuff? That just makes it awkward.
Okay, I'll go then.
She flat out gives you that little, like, smile that you've learned, that you've kind of gotten used to getting from her, despite telling you those things that sound, like, very brutal. You can tell there's a little smile, like, running around on her lips. And give me another insight check.
Okay. Uh, 21 again.
So you can feel that she's not really mad at you. It's more that she's kind of making fun of you for being so awkward.
Fair.
And at that, she'll shrug and just say, was there anything else? And then she looks down at... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't know if you were hesitating or if you were just pausing for dramatic effect. You were saying?
Artel's just say, hopefully we'll be able to hang out, not with a force field between us one of these days.
She shrugs and she said, well, you'll have to ask the old crusty ones in the council about that.
They aren't happy with me right now.
Are they ever happy with anyone? She giggles.
Fair enough.
She'll look down at what you're carrying and she'll go, who's the cute one?
Oh. The Queen of the Vratics and I guess my Padawan.
She blinks a bunch of times. Didn't know they made you a master.
They don't know that I'm one either.
She'll smile even wider. She'll go, Orta, you bad boy.
There was good reasoning behind all that occurred.
She laughs again. And she looks at the Vratics here. And the Vratics looks at her. And the Vratics looks at you. And you feel a telltale pop in your mind.
What is the telltale pop?
Somebody else has joined the Wi-Fi.
Oh no!
Someone has joined your Discord call.
Boom. Boom. I'll reach into the Wi-Fi call.
And
hello?
You basically just see her kind of wincing a little bit as the child is now screaming for food. And she looks at you and she says, if that's what you have to put up with all the time, jeez, didn't know you took an infant as a Padawan.
You get to deal with it now too. I have to take care of this, so I'll talk to you later.
She giggles a little bit. Sure, right away. I'll be here. Well, I'll be here. It's not like I can go anywhere.
Comedy.
Yep.
Yep. And then I bow, take my leave, head to the mess hall for another 3 plates of meat this time. This is going to be a long, long while, isn't it?
Yep. Well, not too long. Actually, if anything, you can pack the food and bring it with you, and have just extra food to feed it on the ship.
I meant the I'm constantly hungry phase as a whole.
Oh,
not
that's gonna take a
eating
little while.
right
Yeah.
now.
I mean,
Yeah.
if the size of the previous queen was any indicator, yes, this thing is gonna be eating a lot and all the time.
Fuck. Infants eat every 2 hours.
Yep.
So you're
Yup.
raising a hive queen.
Yup. Hey. You made some choices. Now you live with the consequences.
Fafo.
Yep.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. It's
All,
hilarious.
all the consequences of fafoing are not always negative, but they are there.
Yep.
That being
Daddy
said, yes.
Ota.
Right. I assume you guys meet back at the ship eventually. And you feel the, lurch in your stomach as Mibble takes off. Mibble, give me a quick piloting roll, will you?
All right. Let's see. Hey, in the tray. That is going to be a 23.
So you take off, no problem. Daddy-o. Stop. So yeah, you take off, and no problem. As usual, a little, on the abrupt, I gotta go fast way that Mibble always pilots. But yeah, you take off, and one more lurch later, you guys are safely within the confines of hyperspace, as you are now flying clearly towards your destination of Yavin 4. This means, of course, you get one more long rest, along with anything else you guys would like to do during that long rest. Is there anything in particular you would like to do?
I am going over my weapon stuff, trying to learn how to put together guns and whatnot.
Okay. So you continue working on your expertise in gunsmithing? Or weaponsmithing? Let's see what's it called in this system.
Yep.
Here we go.
Armsmith.
Yes, armsmithing. There we go. Yeah. Okay.
Can Only pick up whatever manuals need to start learning how to handle the weapon system in the ship?
Sure.
I know it's some sort of skill. I think.
Well, the
know.
fun thing is, it kind of falls under the general for piloting,
Okay.
but
Which is fine. Like to just learn whatever she needs to learn in order to handle the weapon system.
yeah. Are you proficient in piloting already?
Nope!
Okay, well, you could probably start working on that. That would probably definitely
Alright, we'll start working at that.
help when it comes to, not ripping the controls off of the turret next time.
That's kind of the goal. And I'm sorry, I forgot how we're doing that in this system.
We usually get a tracker bar
hours.
with a number of successes, so roll
Okay.
me your piloting.
What do you want me to roll?
Your actual
D20?
piloting roll.
Oh, just a... yeah, okay.
Yep.
5.
Alright. Put a 5 on your piloting.
Alright. I'm just
In
gonna
your
put
notes.
a question mark down for the total, because I don't remember where we're supposed to get to. But I will look it
Don't
up
worry
later.
about that part.
Yep.
Just keep track of how many successes you have so far. Very good. Awesome. Okay. On that note, we will roll back to Mibble. Mibble, is there anything else that you wanted to do? Oh yes, you said your armsmithing. Sorry.
Yep.
It's Kodav. I forgot. My bad. Not Mibble. Kodav.
Yes, sir.
Anything you want to do while in transit?
I want to talk to my holocron.
Okay. And you had given some energy to charge it back up, I believe, on your way in, if I remember correctly. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I'm assuming you put a bit more energy into it since you're going to be napping and resting after this.
Yep.
Okay. It turns back on, and you hear that disgusting old man voice come out as the hooded figure once more appears in front of you. Ah, and yet he returned. Well, tell me, what can I do for ye? I mean, you.
Um, you had offered before to extend your knowledge to me.
Aye, for what is a master without a Padawan?
I am not looking to be your Padawan. I'm just looking to be a pupil.
Sure, call it whatever you want. Well,
You're the teacher.
uh, clearly you're new at this. Fine. What is it you seek? After all, the Force is yet but a form of energy used to make your desires manifest should you have the strength to wield it. So let me ask you the first question. What are your desires? What do you wish for?
A clear understanding of the powers of the Force.
That's very vague. You
Well,
want a clear understanding of the Force? Fine. It's a form of energy. We're able to wield it. The end.
I mean, I wish to understand it in a way where it would guide me to further knowledge. I don't have any extenuating desires per se.
He kind of laughs when you say that, and he says, "This is the same as asking oxygen to be your guide. You need it to breathe and stay alive. It does not guide you. The Force does not guide you. That's the sophistry of the Jedi."
You say sophistry, but the Force does have a will of its own.
Oh, really? And is that will to make people suffer, to let massacre and genocide be committed galaxy-wide?
It's not
If
our
that's the case, then the Force has quite the cruel will, wouldn't you say?
it's not our overseer. To make that description would make the Force akin to a delinquent god.
Which we both agree it is not. And that is quite clearly because the Force is not an entity, it is an energy. It does not have a will of its own. That's just, well, as I said, Jedi sophistry. Blech.
Then help me to understand the difference between it being an energy and it having a will. What would I need to do to tap into more clearly understand that or see the energy for what it is?
Fine. And I'll make this quick. I'm tired already. Look at it this way. Let's take an easy example. I'm sure you've heard of Sith wielding the Force to generate lightning, yes?
Yes.
Would you say that that act in of itself is evil?
The emotions behind bringing forth the lightning is what turns one to the dark side.
He laughs. Fine. Now say that the Force wielder generating that lightning uses it to power a generator to open a door that was currently crushing a child, thus saving the child. Now what?
I have a very hard time seeing a Sith using their powers to save a child.
He laughs.
I have the easier time seeing a Jedi use the Force to move the object off of the child to free it.
And yet that was not my question, which you easily deflected with, no doubt, more the drivel the Jedi have hammered into your head.
Well then,
The Sith are not an entity devoted to evil, they're an entity devoted to their own personal freedoms. It is not good versus evil, it is chaos versus order, and both extremes on that scale are idiotic.
well then, how does one access the lightning without succumbing to the more extreme of chaos?
Oh, you can very easily use your anger to wield it along with the Force. Or does your anger control you?
You broke up.
Oh, I was saying...
I heard the first anger.
Yeah. I was saying, do you use your emotion and wield it along with the Force?
No.
In order to control it and achieve the desired result? Or does your anger control you?
My anger doesn't control me, but I don't use my anger to wield the Force.
He shrugs, then you're half blind, half deaf, and running on half a leg. Emotions are who we are, and denying half of the emotions you feel, well, it's tying an arm behind your back. Metaphorically speaking.
And why must I use anger to generate this Force? Surely there is other emotions I can tap into to generate this lightning. Why does it have to be anger? He
shrugs for a sec, and he looks at you and he says, well, because the Force reacts to our emotions. Ever wondered why Sith in their angers are able to choke people, generate lightning, drain the Force from other people, and a whole host of other abilities that one could consider not, well, extraordinary? And why Jedi who heal are at peace in the calm?
Because the Sith deal with negativity.
He rolls his eyes.
And the Jedi deal in positivity.
He shakes his head. And he says, and look where that has brought both of them at war with each other, a never-ending war that never sees an end. Weak, pathetic the lot of them. Both deserving of, well, the fate that they've brought on each other. Morons.
You still haven't let me know how one is able to tap into this other side of the Force without having to use more negative emotions.
Again, you can't. It responds to your emotions. If you want to throw lightning, you need to understand that anger, control it, and bend it to your will. If it controls you, well, then yes, you'll be no better than a Sith.
I have a very hard time seeing the logic of your statements.
He shrugs when you say that, and he says, "If you are a pupil, you should be listening to your teacher, not questioning them. I won't waste my time or my energy. I've given you the recipe, now you either cook with it, or stop wasting my time." And on that note, the device runs out of energy and shuts off.
At this point, can Only bang on Kodav's door, being like, "Is everything okay in there? I could have sworn I heard that old man that attacked us before."
Would she be able to hear him from, like, the other side of the door?
He's fairly loud. And he was just berating you a few minutes ago.
Yeah. The bane
Actually,
continues
you know what?
until you either open the...
Give me a perception check on me.
Okay.
Let's
That's
double check this.
My perception. I am proficient in it, so that's a dirty 20.
Yeah, no, you would have heard them echoes. You couldn't have heard the words that were being said, but you heard the voice.
Yeah, I heard his voice. She's going to continue to bang on that door until either the door opens, or in a few seconds you have a feeling she might try and break it down.
I open up the door, and I go, "Is there something happening on the ship I need to be aware of?"
That's what I thought was happening. I heard that old man that came in here on our ship back that then suddenly disappeared. I heard his voice. Where the fuck is he?
And he's not in here. I've been listening to some recordings he's left behind. This was his room after all.
Ah. Well then, sorry for disturbing you. Just, was worried something happened to you.
I appreciate the sentiment, but I'm fine.
And you see her come back from that edge of whatever she pulls on for battle. As she calms back down. And she'll head back to her room.
Before you leave,
Yes.
might I trouble you to have a short conversation? I think there's something I'm trying to grasp the understanding of, and I think you being more of a pure warrior would give me somewhat of an understanding.
I don't know about the warrior part, but I can try.
And Kodav will invite her in, and he'll he'll make some beverage or something to offer her.
She'll drink whatever you gave her. She's not picky. Food is food.
When you enter combat, can you describe for me what emotional state you go through as you're fighting an enemy?
She does pause at that question. Well, I'm surprised you're asking about that. As the last time we talked about my emotional state, you stated how my... What was it that you said? Aggression will lead me down a dark path.
True. But you don't lose yourself in the fervor of battle. Is this just training, or is this just an exertion of your will not to fall into some abyss of anger?
Oh, the anger's there. I simply don't let it control me. I use it. It fuels what I do. But I don't let myself lose to it. It's a tool. Much like my axe or your lightsaber.
And is this something that you learned from the Wookiees while you were being raised by them, or is just some enlightenment that you came upon during your training?
They helped me learn how to channel it into something more positive.
Is there some sort of meditation that they do, or some way of harnessing their emotional restraints?
I guess it's more of a state of mind than anything else. For me specifically, each one of us has something different. What fuels that rage? For me, it's a protection. Need to protect either myself or those around me.
Interesting. And like you can see that Kodav is like just he's not placating. He's like he's really taking what you're saying to heart.
But it's finding what drives that emotion within you, what brings it out that you can control. And find a way to push it into what you need to do with it, rather than letting it blind you. As if you let it blind you in battle, it will be your downfall. You go into a battle full of rage, and you're not going to see the enemy that sneaks up behind you. You can't let it dull your senses.
Thank you. I appreciate your insight. This is most enlightening.
I hope it helps you down whatever path you're trying to go down.
There's some things I'm trying to understand, and I needed a different perspective.
But sounds to me like you're starting to see the grays of the world rather than just the black and white.
Well, I have been raised by Jedi for the bulk of my life, so there are things that are not discussed or taught, and it's difficult to learn certain things on one's own.
That's where experience usually comes in. Probably why it's good for you to get out and experience the world. Realize there might be a little more to it.
Maybe you can tell that to my aunt. She might listen to you.
Usually not the first person people want to listen to.
Well, it's my experience that she doesn't much listen to anyone except herself.
Well, the being raised by Wookiees, I doubt is going to be any different. Given how they're seen.
I would honestly think that you had a much easier time being raised by Wookiees.
And Only just kind of gives you a smile that just... It's not really a full-on smile. It's not an agreement to what you said. It's more of a... Just a... Okay, sure. type of smile.
Well, I do appreciate this conversation. It's been most enlightening.
I don't know what you're trying to do, but I hope it helps.
Like I said, I'm trying to expand my horizons. There are some things I wish to wrap my head around. And the way I've been taught to understand the way of things has been somewhat of an impedance.
Sometimes we're taught things a certain way simply because that's the world that those who teach us want us to see. Not for malice or anything else, but simply because they want us to see something better than what they did.
Understandable.
Trust me, the person who raised me would not want me on this path that I'm on, but... this is where they let me go because I needed it.
Well, at least they understood that you wish to travel the path that you wish to travel, and they weren't forcing you down something else.
I think there's more of keeping me off worse paths.
Oh,
Like, it's never good when you run around picking fights with other Wookiee children.
I would presume that would lead to a lot of bruises and potentially broken bones.
Or missing limbs. The children don't have as much control as the adults do. And they're known to rip people's arms off.
I hope that's not something you had to deal with.
It was nothing I dealt with personally, but it's something you have to keep in mind. They are a competitive bunch, and they don't take to losing very well.
It's definitely something to keep in mind if I ever come across negotiators of the Wiki.
If you
I
do,
will not take up any more of your time. I do appreciate it again.
If there's anything else I can help you with, let me know.
Thank you. I do, when we have some actual downtime where we aren't on mission, perhaps we can find some time to spar. I would like to see how my skills fare against you.
Gladly. Always open to some sparring. Maybe there'll be a place on Yavin that we could do some. If you really want to test yourself, you know, there's always the fighting. Everywhere has fighting rings, even if they're underground. You just have to find them. I do quite enjoy them myself.
I'll have to ask you to be my guide. I am ill-equipped to be able to find such things. I'm pretty sure I would seem most suspicious.
You know, given the way you talk, I'd say yeah. You wouldn't quite blend in. But we can work on that.
Well, I look forward to it.
Have a good night.
You too.
And yeah, Hanli will leave to head back to her own room.
And when she does that, Hodav is going to meditate. But he's going to like delve into his anger and sort of push his emotions a little bit, but he wants to try and, you know, do it slowly, not just, you know, deep dive into fury. He wants to see how far he can push his anger before he starts feeling it tug on him, as opposed to him utilizing it. If that makes any sense.
Okay. And is this something you're doing now, or is this something you want to do once you get in those fighting rings?
Well, it's something I'm gonna do now.
Okay.
I don't want to just, you know, like,
So you're
haha.
yeah. So you're doing this in a meditative format, if I understood you correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna do me a favor in that case. I'm gonna need you to do me 2 rolls at the same time.
Okay. Because these are both gonna be D20s.
Yeah. I need the first one to be a wisdom check, and the second one to be a charisma check.
Okay, hold on.
So just d20 plus the bonus.
Okay, so the check. So my charisma. I need to work on. Let's do the wisdom first. 16 plus 5, that's 21.
Okay.
And now the charisma. The charisma is a 10.
Okay. So you're going to mark somewhere in your notes. And that basically you're going to write, charisma versus wisdom, or wisdom versus charisma, 1 success.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
And what your character goes through here doing this is you feel first, the anger at injustice that you've seen committed before you, and you've seen the people getting killed, or even stuff from your past that your character has seen where he saw things he wished he had were strong enough to change, or things he didn't want to see happen. And not to spoil the details, but you know what I'm talking about. And the follow-up to that is you can feel it welling inside you, just this wave almost of raw power. And before long, you realize that you want to use it. And there's this little voice at the back of your head that kind of just rings an alarm bell, where you realize that that's not you wanting to use it. It's it wanting to use you. And you're able to pull back and not get swallowed up by it this time.
Okay.
But looking at your hands, for a minute, you see an arc of lightning kind of jump between your fingers and then vanish.
Okay. He's um he's going to take his personal data pad.
Mhm.
And then he's going to basically have a folder just for himself.
Okay.
Then he's gonna figure out what I'm gonna call it later.
Mhm.
But basically I'm gonna take my vitals after the meditation. I want to track myself
Okay.
um, during this process,
Mhm.
and make sure that I'm not causing any, like, I'm doing full thing, brain scan, body scan, endorphin, stuff like that.
Yep.
And I just want to track my, not so much my health, but track any sort of physiological changes to myself as I'm trying to perfect this technique, to make sure that I'm not going to um, cross any lines biologically that I would recognize as a doctor.
So, funnily enough, the only real things that you notice is obviously an elevated heart rate, increase in adrenaline, and a slight increase in blood pressure, all of which are usually associated with stress. And I mean physical stress, not emotional stress, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
And so as far as your medicine goes, you don't really notice anything out of the ordinary. Even your hormones and your brain chemistry seems to be mostly normal. It's more, once again, that you just felt this allure, this pull towards wielding that power. And you remember the words of the old man on the holocron saying, you know, if you let it control you, you'll be no better than those moronic Sith. And maybe, just maybe, that it was about you controlling it and not it controlling you.
He's trying to take the quote unquote lesson to heart, per se. I
Well,
mean,
yep, go ahead.
He is a crazy, crotchety, old crazy guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he definitely, which is why he, sought the counsel of Only. He would be the best person to get a better understanding of, to decipher this whole using anger as a tool thing, which is starting to become more clear, but obviously I need more practice.
And perhaps more talking with the old man might reveal more things in the future, but that is definitely your introductory lesson, quote unquote, as scuffed and, like you said, old crotchety and completely insane as the old man sounded. But that being said, yeah, you're effectively started walking down a path that you'll have to explore, probably through repeated attempts at that meditative exercise. On that note, though, I believe you've all done your downtime stuff by this point. You do feel, all of you, that familiar tugging around your belly button as the ship exits hyperspace. You feel that little lurch in the pit of your stomach. And you've effectively managed to exit hyperspace near the planet of Yavin 4. Funnily enough, when you arrive there, you don't get hailed. And a quick scan of the planet reveals no major cities. It's mostly dense jungles with foliage and the occasional oversized structure that looks like a temple here and there, peeking out of the jungle.
That's to be expected.
And again, you're not really being hailed. The only thing you really see really is just what you can identify with a scan as a Sith warship in orbit.
Are we in its sights?
It seems that you've exited hyperspace relatively far right now. It's basically almost on the polar opposite side of the planet from where you are. And since your ship is small, there is a possibility that you haven't been detected yet, as it has not hailed you or changed its course towards you, at least.
And I would like to keep it that way.
Okay.
So,
basically head to the bridge and see if Mibble's there.
Yeah. Once we exit, Nibble's most likely going to be at the control center.
Yep.
And, so, Arta, how are we doing this?
How do you mean?
Maybe we'll give me a piloting roll real quick.
Piling is gonna be a 22.
You have been piloting long enough, and you know how ships work, that you know a trick or two, especially when it comes to their sensor suites and everything. But you do know that if you close all non-essential, aka life support systems in the ship, it'll make you even harder to actually detect until you decide to make a beeline for the planet, or at least to land. So
And
while
that's
you're in
what I
orbit,
do.
it's a good way to not get caught.
And that is what I do.
Okay. So yeah, all the lights and then everything that's non-essential just kind of like shuts off except for light support right now in the ship. As Mibble desperately tries to reduce, their electromagnetic profile so they don't get so they don't get caught by the sensors.
So, do you have any location ideas?
Well, there's already an established notion of where we already know where the temples are on this planet. So a safe place to start would be there, in my assumption.
All right.
I mean, yeah, like I said, the scans do reveal a few very big temple-looking buildings.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can find one that looks similar to the ones that we've been finding on the other planets, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, can you repeat that? You cut out for me.
I am looking for like a temple that looks like the ones from the other planets, the terraforming facilities type things.
Yeah, so as you're checking the architecture of all of those planets, you realize that their architectural style is actually quite different.
And I'm not picking up ones that seem similar, huh? Um, did you hear me?
What's up?
I said I'm not finding ones that seem similar.
No, like I said, sorry, I thought you had heard me when I said it the last time. Yeah. I thought you were saying that in character to the others. Yeah, no, no. Again, you do find multiple temples, but their infrastructure does not match what you've seen on Kashyyyk and Thyphera.
Well, you
I
said.
mean, go ahead.
I was assuming you said it to the group. You said that the one on Kashyyyk was for terraforming. Maybe the one here was not intended for the same purpose.
Well, the one on Kashyyyk was terraforming, as well as the one on the Vertex planet.
Maybe this planet didn't need to be terraformed. So they left their mark in a different way. Would your scans have revealed like similar technologies, or is it more looking for the structure of the actual building?
I'm not sure if we could. Are we able to figure out temple technologies, or do we have to actually go on planet size and figure it out ourselves?
Well, I mean, I
Are
don't
you
know.
asking this for me, like,
Yeah, to
out
the
of character?
DM, out of character.
Give me a tech roll.
That would be a 27.
That definitely confirms that their purpose is not the same as the other temples you've bumped into. Uh, but beyond the point that it has a completely different function, you're not really too sure what this one has as a function.
Okay.
But as far as you're concerned, it might not be technological at all. It might be another function, maybe ritualistic or religious or some other function.
I guess we just have to go down and check it.
Well, you're the pilot. What's the best way to avoid being detected by that as we cross paths?
As of right now, you've seen me doing it.
Well, yeah, that keeps us protected out here, but as we get closer...
As we get closer, we might actually get seen, but I'll do my best to try not to.
Well,
Am I able to pilot the ship stealthily to the planet?
I think it's more a question of playing the waiting game and waiting for the warship to be on the opposite side of the planet where they can't scan for you because you're literally got a planet between the two of you, and then diving and keeping the ship low.
Mm-hmm.
So can you give me a piloting roll for that?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give guidance on this.
And guidance gives me what?
D6. No wait. Yes, D6. D6.
D6.
like a D6, like a D6.
D6.
That would give me a 30.
Okay. So yeah, that's exactly what you do. You wait for the ship to be out of line of sight, and then you just dive on down towards the planet. And keeping it low, right above the tree lines, you eventually manage to land in front of one of the temples. You have a pick between two temples right now. One of them is definitely bigger than the other one. It's more circular in shape, whereas the smaller one, seems to sit on a little island in the middle of a lake. It has some slightly more spiky design to the architecture.
Anyone has any requests? Preferences?
I'd say the one in the lake seems more promising to me.
Yeah, does the lake one have sufficient coverage for our ship to hide in? So it's not just easily seen from above.
I mean, maybe you see that there's big, giant stone doors that you could probably fly a small spaceship through if they were open.
I guess let's give it a shot.
Okay, taking us down towards the smaller island temple.
So you guys are headed for the smaller one or the bigger one?
Smaller one.
Smaller one? Okay. You guys land in front of the smaller temple. And when you exit, the first thing that assaults your senses is the sheer amount of life on this planet. You keep hearing birds chirping, you hear some predators attacking potentially prey. You smell the smell of fresh grass and vegetation, but not rotting or anything, just fresh vegetation hitting your nostrils as you come off the stale, almost surgical air, that's on board of the ship. In front of you is that temple with well, I mean, when I say small, I mean it's smaller than the other one, but it's still pretty big. There's two giant ornate stone doors at the front. Not big enough to fly a ship through, but still definitely bigger than anything a normal bipedal person would need. It has an air of what's it called? It has an air of gravity, I guess you could say, of solemnness to it. Can any of you guys who have a skill for languages. Give me a quick roll, and then we're gonna probably wrap this up here. Orta, can you hear me? Yeah. Can I quickly from you guys get a small roll here for where is it? Lore, real quick.
Just for those
Or-
proficient in it, right? Or everyone. I think.
Yep, all of you who are standing here.
Okay.
Mm,
2.
Okay, we got a 2 on Orta. How about the rest of you?
I got a 22,
Okay,
oh wow. Mm,
and I'm not even proficient in it.
nice.
I have a 9.
Nice. Almond?
8.
Okay. So, most of you kind of look at this and they go, ooh, pretty architecture. Mibble, you have no idea who or what this is dedicated to, but you can tell that this seems to be potentially a mausoleum of some sort. Something or someone was enshrined here. This was in the honor of something or someone.
So like
As
a
to
crypt.
what? Maybe. Again, you're not too sure, but it's definitely something that was dedicated to someone. You can see, like, fresks of, people and whatnot being etched into the doors. But if when it comes to that, though, you guys will unfortunately have to figure who or what next week. As it is getting a little bit late, I can see that some of our players, myself included, are starting to hit that it's 2 a.m. limit. So we're going to probably end this here for today. And we'll figure out what this temple's true purpose is next week when we continue with some more Tales of the Outer Rim. That being said, despair not. As Tales of the Outer Rim is not our only show, there is more Behold roleplay for you guys. Actually, there's some almost every week, I think, every day except for Sundays and Wednesdays right now. As Mondays, we have Destiny Forged, which I believe right now is prepping for the launch of the 4th season of the flagship show, run by Rojin. Tuesdays, well, we have us with Tales of the Outer Rim. We'll be here next week. Thursdays, we have alternating shows between Tricorn Isles and Mass Effect Horizons. I believe next week is Mass Effect if my brain is not playing a trick on me. This Thursday, not next Thursday, but this Thursday is Mass Effect if my brain is not playing tricks on me. And then we have Saturdays where we have Withered Wastes and Wayward Wanderers that alternate, and then I believe every alternating Saturdays we have Vigilant 6, which is obviously the replacement actually for what we used to call Would Be Heroes now, so the bot will have to get adjusted a little bit. It's a little off for that. But that being said, yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. I am very excited to continue this adventure with you guys next Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for showing up. I had a blast. Thanks for playing. I'll see y'all next week.